What is up, ladies and gents? It is your friendly neighborhood BJJ podcaster, Rafa Esparza, coming to you with another great installment of the Grappling Hour. I hope you're having a great day. Hey, we're kicking it old school, just like we used to do. This is a live edition of the show. I hope that you are waking up on a very beautiful Saturday morning here on the Best Coast. But if you're elsewhere, say the East Coast, the mountain time, nobody likes mountain. But they do like the people who live in mountain time. It's just like, dude, mountain time, they get no respect at all, especially come New Year's. Nonetheless, we have an excellent guest with us today. We'll get to him in a second. He's got an amazing fight coming up. But before we do, a couple quick reminders. First and foremost, if you like the show, and I hope that you do, it would mean a lot to us if you go ahead and support us at patreon.com. So patreon.com/grappling hour. What do you get if you go there? Well, you get to see my interviews 30 days before anybody else for just $5 a month, $5 a month. And for a few extra dollars, you get to see extra bonus content not available anywhere else, including segments like Roast Raf, where people roast my competition footage, which I'm told today we get to do with one Chris Wojcik. And he told me he's looking forward to it. I don't know how I feel about that. Nonetheless, you can check out that segment, extra bonus episodes, and a segment we do called Tape Study, where we break down matches with the athletes themselves. If you want to support us, you can also go get some merch at rafesparza.com/merch. That always helps out a lot, and we appreciate you guys who do support and love the show. And, of course, you can also like, comment, and subscribe. Now, if you don't know what you want to comment on, by the end of this video, I will give you a prompt. It'll probably be pro wrestling related because our guest here today is also a pro wrestling nerd. And one last thing, if you want to continue the conversations that we have here on the show, you can find us at the Grappling Hour Discord. It is at Grappling Hour. All right, let's talk about our guest. Well, I'm excited to talk to this guest because we just mentioned the fact that, yes, he is also a pro wrestling nerd, but he is somebody who has been continuing to big up on his side of the world and get in some incredible fights. He's got one coming up on April 11th out of Fort Wayne, Indiana. Now, I'm excited to meet this guest because not only is he a 3-0 fighter, he is also somebody who is super enthusiastic. If you look at any part of his social media, this dude's always got a huge smile on his face despite his heavy hands. And I figured, what better way to get to know him than to bring him on live to this week's show. Ladies and gentlemen, for the very first time on the show, please welcome Jerrod Brutus Winston. Jerrod, how are you doing, good sir?
I'm doing fabulous. When it's a beautiful Saturday afternoon. Yes, when it's a beautiful Saturday afternoon, I'm doing great.
Well, you are currently in car, so I guess the first question I have to ask you is, sir, what is prompting you to be in the car? Where are you heading or where are you coming from?
I'm literally just coming back from the gym. I was at the gym from 8:30 until about 12:30. Now I'm just chilling in my car, relaxing, peacefulness, quietness.
So what does a normal Saturday look like to you? Especially right now, you are in fight camp. So, like, what does life look like to you during this fight camp about 3 weeks out before you fight on a Saturday?
Well, today was my last hard day of training since next week just more or less technique work, and then the following week is fight week. So on a Saturday, I'm either at the gym from 9:15 coaching people, or I am at the gym training myself and coaching people because I coach and I also train at the gym as well. So I'm at the gym from either 9 till about 12 o'clock. I'm either doing boxing lessons or I'm training people one-on-one for either boxing or Muay Thai, or I'm doing private lessons for either of those. And then we have a lights out class called Lights Out Boxing, which I'm training a group session of people. And then from there we have Muay Thai, that's a 45-minute session of just technique, footwork, and just intensity the whole time.
When
That's
you
just a
say,
regular Saturday, Danny.
well, hold on. When you say lights out,
Okay.
I do get concerned because I'm thinking to myself, I'm like, why do we call lights out lights out? Like, I get that it's good branding, but you're a big guy, and I don't know that I want to spar with you. If you've called something lights out, I think I might pass on that rotation. So, what is the specific goal of that branded version of the gym?
Okay, lights out. It's like imagine yourself in a club, right? The lights are out, but it's like the club lights are on, and those lights are like playing as you're like boxing, but you're not really boxing in the club unless you're like fighting in the club. But for us, we're actually the lights are out, the music's playing, and we're boxing with good technique, high interval training, and we're getting down the whole time. And the disco lights are on, but like the lights are off, and we just have and it's dark outside most of the time.
I
Yes,
would like to say
yes.
I have concerns here because you try to present it like it sounds like incredibly fun. Now, I've gone to the jiu-jitsu version of these things where they have like a disco ball and it's like really low light. And I don't know if you see this, but these things, they got to be on. So half the time when I'm grappling and I don't have them on, I don't have my senses about me. But the dumb part is, I've been told that when I am grappling, I can kind of like close my eyes and almost like, all right, I kind of see you guys. And they always tell me, they're like, you look very zen when you do it. I don't think I can do that for boxing. So, like, where did that
Take
intention
yourself at
come
all
from?
times.
Because, well, hold on. When you're there, like, when I don't got these on and I'm doing some sparring for boxing, I feel incredibly slow because someone might punch me, and I feel like I get like that Jackie Chan kicking Chris Tucker in the face moment where I'm like, who hit me? Like, when you tell me, you're like, oh, we just get a disco ball, it's a little bit low lighting, all I'm thinking of is, oh, I'm getting a hit more.
No, no. So we just had like a great idea that we just like, you know what? It's like around the class around 8 o'clock in the evening time, or on Saturdays it's at around 9:30, and the sun is still going down, or if it's gone already by that time, and we're just having fun, tech teaching real technique on how to box properly, turning fists over with the lights going. The lights are off, dim down, and then the music playing, and we're just either doing ab workouts, interval workouts, boxing, and hand it back as hard as you can, or speed during the proper times. And you have a partner like the whole time, so he's basically getting a workout with another human being with a coach directing you on what to do.
Okay. Well, we're going to
Yes,
work
yes.
on this selling to me in the future because I don't know that I'm still 100% sold. I'm just glad that it works for you and your people, the good people of Indiana. So, God bless
Praise
to
God.
those of you doing that. But to me, I might still be like, hey, man, I'm going to wait. Can we do regular Muay Thai with the lights so that I got a shot here? Because even though you're telling me, like, no, you'll hit proper form, like, bro, I don't even know good form when I'm doing it with the lights fully on. You better believe that if there's less light on, you're going to be like, no, just rotate your arm. I'm be like, oh, I don't know what I'm hitting. I don't know what I'm doing. Anyway, I want to get to
I
this.
can't see.
I can't see. I mean, again, like I said, I've seen the benefit in grappling, and I do understand that. But it's part of the reason why when some of the strikers at our gym are like, hey, man, why don't you come do striking with us? And I was like, I know what I'm good at. I'm good. When you get to a certain age, you're like, I would much rather spend the time getting better at the thing I actively love, rather than you trying to get one back at me because I'm better at grappling. Because I know that's what's happening here, kids. Most of the people, when
Yes,
they invite
yes.
me to go do striking, they're like, hey, yeah. You wanna do some striking now? And I was like, you're just saying this because you got Kimura like 3 times. I get it, dude. You'd probably be better. I'm gonna keep my face intact. I am a host. So let me ask this, dude. You kind of stumbled upon us, and I have to say, it makes me very happy because when we kind of cross paths, you seem like our people. And what I mean by that is good sense of humor, uh, a great fighter, which always helps. So watching some of your clips, I was like, damn, no, you definitely are somebody who's engaging, fun to watch in the cage, in the ring. But The other thing I noticed is you're this giant goofball of a human being, which then tells me, like, oh no, this makes sense. You go in on some of your fights, and correct me if I'm wrong, but for one of your fights, did you walk out with a WWE Spinner Championship belt? And if so, what prompted you to do that? Because not even when I'm wearing, let's say, I just recently won a Naga belt, and our guys were like, "Are you wearing it?" I was like, "You don't wear those." And they go, "But you should." And I go, "No, I just won one. I'm good. I don't need to like bust it on the shoulder." But I've worn belts for our WWE BJJ stuff and like had my chest puffed out and being like, "No, no, no, I'm the winner here." And I'm like, I didn't beat anybody per se for that. What prompted you to start doing that, sir?
Okay, I can go a little bit more in detail on how I got the belt as well. So first, I got the belts from my professor Brahadas Macon, who's is also Dwight Howard's bodyguard, and he got that belt from WWE. So we had like a seminar for a belt promotion, and I'm a jiu-jitsu blue belt, but I didn't rank up during that time. I got a amazing gift, which is WWE spinning belt. And so you don't know this yet, but I'm a big Roman Reigns fan. And so when I seen him having someone carrying his belt out, I said, "You know what? I can do that." And so I did the same thing. I had one of my teammates, my coach never did it for me, but one of my professor, he did it. I wore my belt out to the ring, and it was like a big uproar. Everyone loved it. I said, "Dang, I love this." And now I'm like contemplating, should I do the same thing again on April 11th? But since Roman Reigns doesn't have his title belt right now, I probably won't. But I'm gonna still have the big energy and get the crowd going in uproar. And so yeah, I've never been like an individual champion, but always been like a champion within myself. And I was like, you know what? I'm gonna bring this WWE spinning belt out and wear it proudly. And ever since then, I have. And then people loved me for it. I got a lot of praise and a lot of eyes on me when I done it too.
Okay. So let me get this straight. First of all, you have Dwight Howard's championship belt.
I do.
Does Dwight know about this? Because when you mentioned that, I was thinking to myself, I was like, oh, that's an adult. Wait, does he know?
He does not. My professor, he got it was a gift from. So Dwight Howard gave it to my professor, and my professor gave it to me. So I don't think he actually knows that I have it.
So you're essentially belted under Dwight Howard if you really do the lineage here.
I get you. You could be right. Yeah. If you think about it, yeah.
Listen, dude. It sounded like Dwight essentially got this thing, said, "How do I give it out?" And then I don't know how well Dwight knows martial arts, but just figured like, I don't know, is this a black belt? Here you go, my friend. And your professor probably was like, "This is adorable. I don't know what to do with this." Fortunately, I've got a giant pro wrestling nerd I can give it to. So what are you ranked at in jiu-jitsu?
In jiu-jitsu, I'm a four-stripe blue belt.
Okay. So this might be his way of being like, hey, bro, you probably roll pretty good. I can't give you your purple belt yet, but hold on. Here you go, my guy. This is a stripe, essentially. Is that
That's
what
literally
happened?
what happened. Yes, my professor and my head coach gave me this the spinning belt 2 years ago at our old location, and they said they so what they did was everyone always loved to do this to me. They had to bring me up and then drop me back down. My coach gave me a mean speech. He's during that speech. I call him the Captain America speeches, by the way. We'll talk about that a little bit more. But no, they brought me all the way down, but they gave me the spinning belt, lifted me all the way up because I was late to the ceremony because I was working, unfortunately, that day, and so I missed the ceremony. But they still uplifted me, and then we also took a picture of me with the spinning belt. And ever since then, I said, "Ooh, I'm walking out my next fight," in which I did.
So I want to transition here to this other thing. So I kind of have two questions. For
Okay.
our WWE BJJ belt, if I ever wear it, the immediate question I get is, well, can I challenge for that belt? And I tell people, well, what are your credentials? Have you had anybody challenge you for that belt? Because to me, when you wear a belt, it's mo money, mo problems. So has anybody come up and been like, I mean, that's a nice spinner belt, bro? Because if that's the case, and you got Dwight Howard's, they don't just give Dwight Howard the Kmart one. You've got a
Uh-uh.
pristine version that I'm sure
Literally,
probably attracts a few eyeballs, sir.
literally. Slow down. When I wore it to the WWE Royal Rumble in Indianapolis, a lot of people can ask me about it. They want to touch it. They want to spin it. But my last MMA fight, after I won, a few people backstage said, "Ooh, I want that belt. Let me challenge you for it." I said, "No, not happening.
See,
This
you know
this
what?
is my baby right here."
I'm glad that you brought that up because my issues don't come from outside. Nobody ever challenges me outside of my friend circle. It's my immediate friends that go, I want to crack at that. And I'm always telling them, I'm like, listen, I don't think you want this smoke. And they're like, why? I go, even if you're better than me, if it's within the rules of pro wrestling, I can cheat. And I know how to cheat better than any of you. So I'm not losing this. And it's really not a good idea for you. I was like, if you want to roll with me for like some other belt, maybe you got a shot. But this, not at all. So when I hear you doing this, and I hear you starting to wear it, and I'm seeing these photos, I go, you know, the belt just looks good on you. So it begs the second question, which is, you feel you can't wear it right now because Roman Reigns doesn't have his belt. Can you explain the logic of that? Because that doesn't necessarily make sense to me. It sounds like you're doing the Miz stunt double kind of scenario here where you have to do what the Miz is doing. And I'm just thinking you don't have to necessarily follow that logic. It's kind of a big leap of logic. You could just be the champion and Roman Reigns can just be in transition right now.
I feel that. I feel that. So like, in my mind, in my head, like I'm the main character of my life, right? And like these days, I'm like, dang. If you think about it, I'm the head of my table in my family. I'm the tribal chief in my family. I I control what's going goes wrong around me. Like I have, not to be like a big head or anything. I am signed under the Showtime Management Group, which is Anthony Pettis management group, right? So I just feel like my manager had asked me, should we sign one of my teammates? I said yes, just not yet until after he won his last fight. That's when you should approach him. And so I feel like I have that power to uplift my teammates, like whoever comes around me. I feel like I have the power to uplift them, like Roman Reigns did. And now, like also when I do fight, though, at all my fights, I yell just like Roman Reigns does when he's getting ready to spear somebody. And so, like, I just feel like that's the reason I bring the belt out. And if since he doesn't have his right now, I don't think I should. But like now that you mentioned like the Stun Devil with Miz, I'm like, dang, I ain't trying to be compared to him. I just feel like, oh, maybe I should, maybe I shouldn't. But I might bring it out just because you mentioned that part though. But yeah,
I
I'm a
feel
huge Roman Reigns
like
fan.
Roman is a longtime champ, one of the longest serving champs. I don't think you need to follow him to a T. And in fact, I ask you this question, which might help you a little bit. If the roles were reversed and Roman was following your MMA career and you didn't necessarily have a championship, do you think he wouldn't wear his?
No, he will probably still wear his.
And heel or good guy, doesn't matter. He would 100% wear his championship belt. It's almost like telling Roman Reigns, oh man, Brutus didn't go his way this fight. You think he's not going to do this? You think he's just going to be like, you know what? Today we don't do that, sir. Not today,
Yeah.
out of respect for him. I think he wants you to be the champion you're supposed to be, which begs the question, why Roman Reigns? Because there was a long period of time where people did not enjoy the Roman Reigns. I'm not sure if you're one of those people. I'm going to find out here in a second. But why the association with you being a fan of his to the extent where he's kind of bled in to your actual fighting and MMA career?
Let's see. So I have these three. Well, I have a total of 8 best friends, but 2 of them are also fighters as well, and we're like very similar, just how the Shield was. And so their names are Jake and Jordan. My real name is Jerrod, right? And so I was like, wow, we all have similarities, but out of all of us, I'm the big dog, Roman Reigns. My boy Jordan is kind of like the lunatic, um, Dean Ambrose, or AKA John Moxley, and my other boy, Jacob Kendig, Seth Rollins. And like ever since then, I'm like, dang, we're like all similar. Besides, Roman Reigns is Hawaiian. I'm a big black man, and like when I come into a room, everyone can feel my presence. They see me, they're like, wow, I feel his positivity. I feel his presence. There we go. And so ever since then, I was like, wow, he's incredible. He doesn't back down, no matter how big, no matter how big, strong, whatever you are. He's stepping to you. He's coming towards you. He comes forward. I was like, wow, that's kind of like me. I'm not scared. I'm not scared to like go fight anyone big, small, strong. No matter what, I'm going to go compete. Like one of his shirts said, wreck everyone and leave. That's what I do nowadays. And so I was like, well, just because everyone's giving up on him or is not a big fan of him, it's not me. I'm different. I'm gonna go support this man because ever since then, ever since 2013 when I started, I've been a huge fan of Roman Reigns and I haven't given up on him. And he's like escalating, like he's literally the tribal chief. He's the reason that we are in the Netflix era on Raw. And so I'm like, wow, he's the man. And so I'm like, wow, I want to be like him one day. If not, I want to be in the WWE one day as well. So that's why I'm a huge Roman Reigns fan.
I mean, you picked well. I feel like the story ended up very
Yeah.
well for him. There was an era where it was hard to appreciate what he was doing. It seemed like Vince was kind of shoving him into the main event in times where you're like, oh, really? Him? Really?
Yeah.
And then as he grew more comfortable, I felt like that COVID area, while not a great time, he really emerged as who he was supposed to be. Like that era when he could be quieter, he learned how to listen a lot more to that crowd, and he wasn't over scripted. I think it was Jay Uso that said, no, that cockiness, that guy, that's really closer to who he is. And you feel it. Like, even if that's not really who he is, you sensed, like, oh, he's the guy who's kind of roasting you a little bit in your group. He's the guy who, like, really is, like, trying to be that alpha in the group. Where I go, yeah, this does make more sense. And they did give him one of the best storyline runs of all time. So I could see
Literally.
that. I'm sure it feels like investing early in a stock and seeing it rise heavily and being like, I told you guys, Roman was the guy. I knew it. I knew he was going to be the guy.
Yes.
So the only thing I'm a little concerned with here is you picked a good faction. You're like, nah, man, my brothers are like the Shield. Have you seen how the Shield has kind of worked with each other over the years? Like, are you concerned with that branding? Because when you say like, oh, my buddy, he really reminds me of Moxley, I'm like, you know, those are red flags. And the amount of times that Seth Rollins has gone public and been like, I despise you, Roman Reigns. I'm your little brother, and I'm going to clean up the mess that you made. Like, when you say those things, I go, do you guys have that too? Because I don't think they always love the big dog sometimes.
No. Me and my boys, we're really close. We're really good. We literally have a text message thread. We talk dinner every day. I just seen Jordan today actually in the gym. Jake, he's about to have another baby on the way. So no, we're not exactly like the Shield, but we are very similar to the Shield, and will never backstab each other. That's just how we are. We're all very loyal to each other.
All right, hold on. Those are the
Sure.
words that concern me. When you're like, he'll never backstab me, and I was like, this is just setting up the storyline. All right. Hey, I'm glad to hear that. I love the fact that you got other friends that are just as geeked about this sort of thing. But do you make them call you tribal chief? Is that something that you make them do? Because it might seem like, nah, man, I'm all positivity and sunshine and I'm a good guy. But they do have to refer to me as their tribal chief.
No, but I do have them acknowledge me, though. When I walk in the room, I say, acknowledge me.
Good for you, sir. I mean, I want to say this. I'm very pleased because on your social media, I saw the biggest smile, the biggest grin on your face when you were at the Royal Rumble. So tell me, how did you get tickets and what did that experience feel like?
Oh, man. So I have two families, right? I have my household family, the family I grew up with, and then my best friend's family. And so we always like do Christmas together on both sides. And I was like, you know what? I don't know how it was or what I did. So I was like, you know what? All I want for Christmas is Christmas and my birthday. It was my 30th birthday gift and my Christmas gift. I was like, I'm going to go see WWE Royal Rumble in Indianapolis. And he said, you know what? I can do that for you. He didn't realize how huge WWE actually is. He was shocked how much the tickets were. And I said, yeah, I'm glad you paying for them boys because I'm not. And so, yeah, I had spent my 30th birthday the week before in Chicago. It was a great time. And then the following week, I was off. So I had spent my 30th birthday, the following weekend in Indianapolis, all weekend, Indy. And yeah, I got to experience WWE Royal Rumble. It was amazing. I had a great workout the morning before. The morning of. I drove to Indianapolis, which is like a 2-hour drive. Checked into my room, got me some great food, and then I got all dressed up in Superfly, and I got my Roman Reigns shirt on. It was amazing. Had my stunner shades on, and I had my WWE spinning belt on my chest. I feel like a superhero, the flyest man in the room. And then off I went to, I got me a lift because I was not paying for parking. Outrageous. At Lucas Oil Stadium, actually. And yeah, it was, I feel like a big kid again. When I say I feel like a big kid, I was like in awe. It was amazing. Superstars everywhere. I seen some UFC fighters every there. And it was just breathtaking. I was speechless. So I was ecstatic. I did not leave from my seat the whole dang near 4 hours. I was there.
I do have a little bit of a question here because when I go to these things, a long time ago, I created this bit that now I think a lot of people do. But when I showed up at one of my very first live events after years of I didn't go for a few years, but I was always watching the product. And when I started going back, I realized how many people have belts? And I mentioned that when they wear a belt, they puff out the chest, sort of a thing. There's a lot of people who I feel are wearing belts that I have a serious look at and I go, sir, who did you beat for that belt? You're carrying that belt like you won it. And I'm all for playing make-believe here and giving to the cause. Having said that, sir, that chest is a little pronounced. You're not Mike Tyson. You're not Anderson Silva. But you sure as hell think when that belt is on your shoulder, you are. So seeing you wear it, I'm kind of like, no, you actually fight. You get some dope submissions. You have a good record. I see some of these other guys in the crowd, and I start thinking to myself, you need to chill out, bro, because otherwise, I think I can take that belt from you. Who's to stop me from challenging you from this belt? Because if we play by the rules, these nerds are 100% going to count a pin if I hit you with the DDT.
Literally.
This crowd is very well researched.
Yes. So when I'm at the last competition, I seen one guy. He has 6 belts all around him, or he was having his kids carry him. I said, "Oh my gosh, if I wanted to right now, all I had to do was spirit this man one time. I'm taking 6 new belts on." But I said, "No, I'm a chill. I'm relaxed right here. Because 6 belts is a lot to carry, and I got this one big one. That's already heavy too." So believe me, I thought about it several times while I was at the event.
I mean, everybody does it. It goes without saying, especially any of us who train martial arts. There is a moment where I'm like, nah, I like my odds. I think I can take this guy. And then I'll look at somebody else and I go, nah, this dude also trains. It's a 50-50 proposition. So we gotta hit him by surprise. You mentioned the spear. I'm kind of pressed to ask here, is that the finisher of choice? Because obviously you're a guy who can get submissions in the cage. You got two beautiful ones in the early parts of your AMI career. But, like, is that the finishing move if you were to pick one?
Either that one or the Bramora, also known as the Kimura. It's either those two right there. Because, like, I did play for high school football, and I was definitely a defensive tackle. So I would say yes. Most definitely, I would definitely go for a spear. Because
Okay.
once I hit you, you're definitely going to feel it or you're not getting up for a while.
Good branding. I like that. So, all
For sure.
right. I like all these things, but I do want to get a little bit to your fight coming up April 11th. Tell me a little bit about this. So for you, you got this 3-0 for your career thus far in, and obviously you mentioned Muay Thai and you mentioned striking as something that you're passionate about, and we'll get into your origins in a little bit. But I want to ask, like, tell me about your fight coming up and what people can expect when they see you in the cage on April 11th.
Okay. April 11th, you're going to see some excitement. Then there's some fireworks because I never know what I'm going to do until it happens. So this is like the first fight. I had no idea about my opponent. There's no videos about him. All I know is about he's has a picture of him fighting, and there's some some videos of him lifting weights. That's all I know. And he's coming from a foreign country, Georgia. That's all the information I know. And so I know he might be a boxer, and I know he's going to definitely be a wrestler since I'm pretty sure that's like one of the main things they are known for out there. But in the meantime, I'm gonna just strengthen up my strengths and work on my weaknesses and get better all on my all around game. Because uh, again, this is my city, this is my country, and I'm gonna have fun and continue doing me and having fun with a big smile on my face. There we go.
You know, it's very funny because when we mentioned your opponent and we were talking before on off air, I looked him up and I just kind of said, like, yeah, you're right. They definitely, if you had an image of a Russian dude you were going to fight in your head, it probably would look like that dude. So, yes, he's from the other Georgia, not Atlanta, Georgia, the Russia, Georgia. So, it is kind of a mystery that you're getting in there. But I do love the fact that he's coming into enemy territory for you because this is the hometown, right? Like, this is where you fight out of, essentially.
Yeah, she's born and raised in Fort Wayne, Indiana.
Fort Wayne, Indiana. Okay, good to know. That tells me a lot here, sir. But I do love the fact that you're telling people they can expect the show. You're going to rep the town. You're going to rep the country. And what I love about this for you is you start by saying these words, which are, you know, I don't know a ton about him. I know small footage exists of him, but I don't care who, I don't care when, like anytime, any place is kind of the feel of this. When that does happen, you mentioned
Fight my
today's the
Marines.
as you should be, bro. But as you mentioned these things, all I'm thinking is, you know, you mentioned today was like one of your last like hard days. Now it's just mostly focusing, I'm sure, keeping the weight right, keeping everything right as you make your way to those final moments. But like prepping for somebody who is that kind of a question mark, how much trust are you putting into your team and how much work are they doing? Because I always like to tell people when they say I don't tape study people, it's usually they don't do the work because they're like, I just do what I do. And I go, well, I hope someone on your team is doing it because someone should be looking at that. So, like, what role does your team play in a fight like this in terms of game plan and preparation?
So my coach, he told me that well, we all actually looked up trying to find footage of this man. There's none. We tried several times. All we have is like him lifting weights. That's it. And so when it comes to looking up footage, usually I like to do it myself, or me and my coaches will like sit down and look at it. But this time it's like again, no footage on them. And so a few of my teammates, we actually worked on my footwork and my wrestling on Friday mornings at 7:30 in the morning. And then at nighttime, we had like a secret practice, like a fighters only practice at nights where the time around the times we'll be fighting. So about 8 to about 9:30 is when the times we were training at. Like last night, I was in the gym I did like a 2 a day on a Friday, and just training, just working on technique, ground game, wrestling, wall work, and then mitts work, and also we did the Soul Snatcher, the assault bike. I'll tell you about that later on. I hate that doggone bike, but it works. And then on Tuesdays and Thursdays, we were lifting weights and making sure our technique was following through with our striking as well. Um, Tuesdays, I'm in the gym from 4:30 until about 9 o'clock at nights, working on technique, coaching people, doing Muay Thai, doing Jiu Jitsu. And then I'd repeat it all again on Wednesday morning from 9:30 until about 2 o'clock. Just jiu-jitsu, sparring, wrestling, and mid-work. And recovery all the same day.
All right.
Thursday, yeah, so we do a lot. I do a lot of 2 a days during fight camp. And I'll also still working.
What do you do for work, sir?
I am a professional fighter. I am a trainer, and I'm also a cook for a retirement home for the elderly.
Well, first of all, that's awesome. Second of all,
Thank you.
what do you tend to cook? Like, I know when you're cooking for masses, it's hard to be like your Michelin 5-star self. But like, if I were to ask you what your best dish that you cook is, what is the best thing you cook, sir?
Ooh, sheesh. Last night I made a oven roasted turkey. That was delicious. We served about 170 residents last night, and I had not one complaint on that. It was dark white meats. I had some mashed potatoes, gravy, and then some green beans on the side. Everyone loved it. I probably just that's one of my favorite meals we served there, or the lasagna. And in third place, probably the meatloaf.
Okay.
Like every time and probably the fourth will be the ribs that we make at work.
So
Yeah.
hold up.
And when I cook,
I need to know something. How do ribs get the 4 spot? Because normally you cook some good ribs here. That's not taking the 4 spot. It's top 4, but it ain't 4. So to me, I'm thinking to myself, I'm like, my man, how is your lasagna outperforming your ribs?
only because I love the grill and I love the smoker. But when we make our ribs, we're using the industrial oven. So we're basically baking our ribs. That's the only reason the ribs are in fourth place and not number one.
Okay, that explains things to me. Because I got to tell you something.
Yeah,
My wife put a challenge to me because I don't have a grill at the place we live at, and you know we were doing Super Bowl, and she just kind of like put it in my head one day. She was like, "Do you want ribs?" And I was like, "Without a grill, like what am I gonna do?" Like, no. And then I remembered, you know, like she was talking to me about it, and I go, "You know, we got this Instapot. I want to see what I can do." I was like, "Give me a second. Hold on. I want to see what I can do with this shit." I put a challenge to myself. I gave it to her, and I was like, "We'll see." And she looked at me, and she's like, "How the fuck did you do that with a fucking pressure cooker?" And I told her, I was like, "You told me to do it." I was like, "I would figure out a way." And I was like, this challenges everything I know. So literally every tool I have now. I'm always like, an air fryer, an Instapot, an oven. Yeah, we can make some stuff happen. Give me 5 minutes. I'll map this out. I know exactly what I'm doing. So I've been very pleasantly surprised by my gadgets because most of it is just to meal prep for me. So like when I got in last night, I had one thing that I'm doing with like Italian beef. I've got another that I'm doing with like taco meat so I can do for some bowls. And then I'm literally at the same time cooking chicken and prepping these short ribs. And I'm like, I have like a whole little system. And I was able to do it. And the hardest part to me was I didn't really eat a ton last night. But I was like, yo, that's a dangerous thing to not eat and be cooking. Because those little snack portions that you're like, That's pretty good. I gotta take 2 more tests just to
Yeah,
make sure.
facts. That's me at work all day, every day. It's hard to like maintain my weight, but I'm like, wow, I've legit maintained this weight range, if you will, for the past year, and I'm like, I'm
Hmm.
very proud of myself. So believe me, I know it's hard being a chef and being a healthy fighter as well. So that
Well,
snacking while you're trying the foods is a little challenging, but I do respect it.
do you then have to deal with like trusting other taste testers when you're trying to make weight? Do you have to look at them and be like, "Yo, can you try this?" Nah, nah. Can you eat it in
Uh,
front of me, please? And yeah, no, just like that. Let me know. Is it good? Describe it. What does it taste like right now?
when it comes to the sweets, yes, but like everything like the protein or like the starches and the vegetables, that right there, I'll try myself. But like the sweets, I'm like, no, what? That's all you, big fella, big dog, because I gotta make sure I'm good and healthy for this fight. But the sacrifices is worth it right there,
I will
especially
tell
when them
you.
ass popping out.
I will tell you this. Uh, there's always like a naga that comes around town right around my anniversary, and you know, last year I made the mistake of I went up a weight class because I said I'm not going to deny myself a good steak dinner with my wife. It's our anniversary. No, I'll just go up a weight class because I probably won't make weight with that, and I don't want to worry about it. Mistake one. Two, I go have the steak dinner. I eat what I consider a little bit like lavishly. The day of the competition, I weigh in and I could have made my normal weight, but instead now I'm competing up. They
Mm,
put me in a division because I competed in 2 divisions. I was like, let me put in the old people 40 plus and the slightly old people 30 plus. Turns out, day of, nobody signed up for 30 plus. So they put me with the adults. And I was like, I'm not doing that. And when they put me in that division, there's a young upstart, a guy who I really like. I really enjoy him. They put me in his category in the adults. And I was like, I'm going to respectfully decline this. And they go, what? Like the refs were like, you, why would you decline? And I was like, because I was going for plus 30 and you're putting me in with assassin children. I'm not going to do that. I am not this guy. And they're like, no, no, it's great. You should do this. And I go, I'm out. The referee comes over. He's like, you out? I go, yep. He goes, you sure? Mm hmm. You sure? Mm hmm. The third you sure was the biggest you being a bitch right now I've ever heard implied because he hit me with a third, you sure? And I just looked at him and I said, fuck it, we ball. Let's go. And this dude proceeded to
my man.
really beat the hell out of me. It was not. It was like my worst performance ever. But I had told somebody I was like, I wanted to interview this guy, and I don't want to have a match with him. I just want to interview him. And he's like, I'd tell you this, man. If you took a match against me, I'd be more likely to give you an interview if I didn't know you. And I was like, that's true. All right. So I do this. The dude beats me with like a Darce. He has no interest in doing anything that isn't flying at you. And like,
Oh
I
wow.
think now this dude is challenging for a title at LFA. And the referee later hit me up on Instagram and goes, hey man, I didn't know that was the situation. Big respect to you. And I was like, now this dude's apologizing to me to be like, I did that to you. And I'm like, yeah, dude, that's why I went up and said, listen, bro, I'm for a challenge, but with fellow olds. And I thought I was challenging myself going 30 plus. Now you put me in this division. I'm like, this dude is hitting a flying darce on me. I can tell you the number of people in life who have ever hit a flying darce on me. So that's why when you're talking about like, man, it's hard to make weight. I was like, dude, I tried being responsible, and even that shit's hard, and I don't fight for a living. So I understand your pain in a very different way. I do want to ask this though, since you were kind of mentioning this a little bit earlier. You mentioned that you played football. So we always like to get into origin stories for people's first appearance on the show. For you, where does your jiu-jitsu journey or your martial arts journey begin?
Okay, I can go back in middle school actually. I had did karate, and because like coming up in the '90s, we had the Karate Kid, We had the Three Brothers. We had the Ninja Turtles,
Mhm.
and I was always a big fan of all of those. And so I became an orange. I went all the way up to orange belt before we found out the owner was being a scammer or a fraud, if you will, and he went to jail for that. So we stopped going. And then from there, I started doing football in middle school. From sixth to seventh grade, I took a break in eighth grade, and I did start training again in eighth. And no, I started training again in sophomore year, like the off season. And then I went all the way up to my senior year. We became state runner-ups and state runner-ups in high school football. And then I had met my now to this day my head coach Mike Lee. He was my substitute teacher this my last 3 days of my senior year of high school at Snyder High School. And I told him I always want to go to WWE because during like the moment of silence and the pledge of allegiance, well, the moment of silence, I take a big deep squat because I was I don't know why I was just stretchy, and he said that was a nice squat. I said thank you, and I told him I always want to go to WWE, and he said, well, I have an MMA gym, you should check it out. And ever since then, 2013 of November 2013, we've been like this ever since. Been cool. His kids call me his their uncle, their favorite uncle, to be honest with you. And yeah, and I had my first MMA fights of November of 2018, and then I've been fighting ever since. I won that first fight, lost three in a row, and ever since then I made a change to be all in, and now being my brother's hype man, and I've been winning technically 10 fights in a row, not including that includes my kickboxing bouts as well.
So let me ask this. You kind of jumped a little bit real quick through all that. So during middle school is where you were doing karate, but then during high school you were doing football. So were you training martial arts and doing football at the same time? Because to me, that is tough.
No. So we did. I guess you could say yes. I did do. We did karate during like the off season in middle school, and then towards the end we started doing football as a family thing. Yeah, we did football and karate separately until it got expensive, and then the owner got arrested for fraud and scamming people.
Mm. Can I ask this for you
Yes.
specifically? What do you remember about your first like jujitsu experience? Because we're a little bit more of a jujitsu program here, and I always like to ask people if they remember their very first jujitsu class, and if so, like what stuck out to you about that experience?
I just realized, well, one, how the gym was in the back of a church, and then two, how the Kimura was like my favorite. It became my favorite and easiest move, and it stuck with me to this day. So, probably the Kimura, and also how in the back of a church it was some fish swimming around in the fish tanks. So yeah, that probably was like the two main things of my jujitsu experience. What
Can
stuck out
we
to me as
hold on?
well.
Let's pause here. Y'all have a fish tank at your jujitsu gym. That was your first experience?
Yes, in back of a church. Yes.
Okay, to me, and please, no offense here, fully taken. That's some bougie stuff because my jujitsu experience was very different on my first days. I didn't have a fish tank just being like, oh, here's the gym, here's our lockers. Please enjoy the lovely accord of our fish tank here before you come over and try to Kimura the hell out of somebody. Like, have you been enough gyms now to enough gyms where you've seen that not everybody has a fish tank for their first experience?
Yeah, and I realized that on my first, so our that was our first location, and so ever since then, so yeah, we definitely moved up since then because that was a little run down in the back of a church. I was like, wow, this is not it, but it was. I got the job done. I did loved it. I have been to quite a few gyms in my lifetime. That was like, yeah, I'm glad we moved both times, and now I'm glad that we are at our current location. I was like, wow, we definitely moved up, and we are definitely in a better spots.
Okay.
Yeah.
So the other question I like to ask people is why MMA? Because if you're just training, you could be happy about that, but it sounds like you had a pretty fun experience. Well, I don't know that. I mean, you might not have, but to
Oh yeah,
me,
I'm still coming.
but your demeanor indicates to me, without fully saying it, that when you did football, I think you had an enjoyable experience doing it. Like, how were you able to, one, balance those two things, and then two, like, when you are doing this and you really are starting to find yourself in martial arts, like, what starts to prompt you to think, like, I kind of want to fight?
Um, let's backtrack. I'm not sure you know who Brock Lesnar is. Um, ever since I saw him, he was an all pro wrestler, and he went to WWE, then he went to UFC. And I said, well, if he can do that, why can't I do that? So I decided I want to go like to UFC, then to WWE, and then retire with the WWE because why not? I loved him. I love both of them. He was a freak of nature. No offense if you're seeing this, sir. And he's a big, strong man who can run very fast at a normal speed for a big human being like that. And so, yeah, I was like, you know what? Let's give it a try, and let's backtrack even more because not sure you know the Rocky Balboa or Rocky stories, movies. I was a huge, to this day, I'm still a huge fan. Legit watched Rocky 4 last weekend to get in the right mindset. And so, when I was growing up, I was watching the Rocky movies, and as I was watching them, I was training along with them. I was like, wow, I'm like feeling like very inspired, very motivated to do this. And so I was also bullied in my lifetime. So I was like, you know what? We can make a negative turn into a positive and use MMA to inspire others and motivate people as well. So here we are. I know that was a lot in about 30 seconds.
No. That told me a lot. So first off, you don't have to apologize to Brock Lesnar for a number of reasons, but I can tell you, you wouldn't be the first person to call him a freak of nature. So I don't think that that's something that even registers any kind of like look on his face. He probably has grown up his whole face, like his whole time being like, yeah, I know, genetic freak. What do I do? So I'm pretty sure he's used to that. Two, I would have never assumed that you had been bullied, but you always find that after the fact because now we know the difference. Now we know you're this guy who's a
Yeah.
big dude who knows how to handle himself. But there's always the origin story where you're not always the biggest, or you're not always, uh, you know, you might be okay by yourself, but when there's a gang of folks who are doing it together, there is that power in numbers. That's how bullies sometimes exist. Is it's not just them; it's like a
Hmm.
gang of people. So even if you were sized or undersized, doesn't matter at a certain point. So I'm glad to see you overcame that, and clearly, I would assume, not knowing you fully, like I just see you as a very easygoing, fun, nice dude. And I think that bullies sometimes seek out those people because they're like, oh, I can beat up this guy because well, he's smiling too much. This guy, he likes his life too much. You know what? I'm gonna change that for
Yeah.
him. So I could see that could be a problem for some people. Um, I do want to ask this though. So when you say, or you're kind of thinking to yourself, you've wanted to emulate these people, and you keep circling back to, oh, well, what I really want to do is pro wrestle. Is that still a goal for you? Like right now, you're in a very good moment for your MMA career. I'm not saying you're stopping, but I'm saying it's a much different world than you and I even grew up with, where that wasn't a thing. Like you got a Kurt Angle once, and that was like a generational sort of a thing. Now with
Yeah.
TKO, they seem to say like, we're not against it. So is that kind of a goal? Is that something you would be interested in doing?
Yes, to this day, like I've always wanted to go to WWE. I've always wanted to have fun. Like, and then even in the high school locker rooms, I was doing giving people AAs in the into the trash cans. We were having fun with each other. So don't think, oh no, he's a bully. No, we were all having fun. We were spearing each other. We were wrestling. So yeah, it was a great time. Um, no, I still Uh, I'm still a big John Cena fan. Don't talk about it. Don't mention it. But yes, I'm. I still want to go to WWE. Maybe when I'm in the 40s and I'm still active as much as I am today, because I don't like when I'm done with UFC. Because fingers crossed, I will get there. I wanted to eventually go to WWE and have fun and experience um, quite a few matches actually.
Okay.
Yeah.
Okay. I mean, I'm wondering if you're going to be one of those people who does the training on the side. Because I think in Indiana, could be wrong here, there might be a pro wrestling school or two. And I'm just saying, I'm not sure if you have or haven't yet, but it's always an option to do. And just as an old person here, if you would be so kind to take this advice. I know you just casually mentioned 40, like, yeah, when I'm retired, I'm 40, I'll do it. I'm like, brother, these bumps do not get easier to take as you get older. And I know you're an athlete. It's just, even when Cody Rhodes is like, I think 45 sounds good. I think that's about the time. Like, these guys, once they start to peak around 40, they're figuring their exit clause. You're telling me you're thinking like, nah, that's when I on ramp, and that's when we get going. I'm like, if you could go to a wrestling school now, I think closer to now is the time to go, sir.
I might, but my manager and my family like, not the best idea. Keep on that UFC right now. Keep that going, man.
Fair enough. I want to tell you, if that is the ultimate dream, I think learning the craft sooner is better than later, even though it
I feel
is
that.
not exactly in the line of what you're trying to do. But I will tell you this, after listening to so many of those stockholder meetings, like I listen to all the shareholder meetings that they do for all the people, and I hear one of their heads named Mark Shapiro, and he continuously talks about the idea of like, we're open to it. Like, you get a Ronda, you get a Brock every once in a while. Obviously, they have a Logan Paul in there. I think that business model is changing. And I feel like the only thing, and I've even heard Dana of years, he would be like, they can't do that. And you're like, Brock's a different thing. We'll let Brock go do that. Like, now I think because they're merged, even Dana's like, I mean, I'm open to it. So all that language is not the same. So it wouldn't hurt to have some of that just as somebody who's seeing those doors open in a different way. I think most people are just concerned about injuries, making sure you're good because they know that comes with the territory. Having said that, the injuries are going to come no matter what you do if you want both careers. So
Facts.
there being that. Okay. One other question I like to ask people when it comes to grappling is, when did you fall in love with martial arts or grappling? Because you have to have love for it to do it as more than just a hobby. You are a busy
Sure.
man who coaches, you are a busy man who works his ass off, cooking for people and busting his butt all around. There has to be a passion. When did you notice that this was something that you wanted to pursue?
Ooh, that's a great question actually, because I feel like I fell in love with like MMA. Besides jiu-jitsu, because to the jiu-jitsu, so now jiu-jitsu took a while for me to actually fall in love. So, like, you know what? I'm starting to like love this. I'm starting to get the hang of this. Like, it's helping me control my aggression. It's helping me control to like think under pressure. It's helping me control my I wouldn't say anger, but my ruthless aggression, and like just use technique, because like my powers and strength won't always get me out of certain situations. So I don't know. I would just say MMA. Probably my first MMA fight. That's when I fell in love with like the striking part, because I definitely took my opponent down with my fists and knees and punching. And then later on, because we also do wrestling, because we knew he was my opponent at the time was a wrestler, so we definitely have to get better at the wrestling part. And then the jiu-jitsu came a little bit after, probably after my first jiu-jitsu loss. That's when I probably learned to love it. Yeah. So after my first jiu-jitsu tournament at the Arnold Classic, is when I first fell in love with it because I was like, you know what? Not everything comes easy in life, and I definitely got dominated in that fight. I mean, in that tournament. Usually I'm the biggest and strongest person in my gym, but when I went to step on that ring, I mean, on the mats, I was actually the smallest one there, which is a shocker. And so I realized that's when you got to start using your technique more and not relying on my big strength, because there's always probably be another person bigger, maybe stronger than you, that you got to use your technique to get you out of certain situations. Yeah.
Good on you, sir. And you know, I find it very funny because obviously we ask about the passion being in MMA and jiu-jitsu, and in your case, you answering it on the jiu-jitsu side, it does bring a smile to my face because I saw your finishes. I saw your submission finishes. So when they start calling you a submission grappler from the branding and they're like, "Look at this submission grappler." And I was like, "My man has Bang Muay Thai on there. He's not talking about his jiu-jitsu yet. It just got him the wins." So I'm looking over and I
Yes, yes.
go, it's a good marker to note that they're seeing something in you and your fighting style is evolving so that it's becoming that you're picking up more weapons as you go. So I think that's incredibly a testament to your team, yourself, that you might have started off as a striker, but now you're starting to pick up weapons as a grappler and even wins. So anytime you can walk away with those wins and you find those moments, that's a really cool thing to see for you. I am curious about this because on your socials, it says part 2 of the Brutus documentary will begin filming for Brutus's upcoming April 11th fight. So it begs the question, one, there's a first documentary, and where can people see that? And two, what exactly does that mean?
Okay, so the part one, we shot it on my homecoming tour fights at the Artist Crab. I'm gonna say 8, and it was like so basically it's like a documentary about getting to know me as the fighter and the human being. And so it's not done yet because it was just the part one. The part two is gonna probably finish maybe at the AOS 10. And so it's just basically a documentary about everyone, how they can get to know me, not only as the fighter, but as a human being. They're gonna see like me getting my haircuts, me and interacting with the people in the community of Fort Wayne, Indiana, or me getting working at my job. Actually, you'll see a lot of behind the scenes of my day to day life, me recovering, me in the gym, me just being me is what they'll get to know about the documentary itself. And you might even get to see some special guests, some celebrities. You never know what you're going to see, but it's going to be an amazing documentary. It's going to be beautiful. I'm excited for it.
Good to hear, man. I'm glad that you're documenting it because I do feel like there's an older generation that lost so much of those moments that they didn't really air them. Like now we have social media, maybe you could put stuff on stories, but chronicling it, I'm sure in the future you'll look back and you'll appreciate that you'll have footage that shows that and you get to tell your story in a way that's good for you. So I feel good knowing that. Just to remind people, that is happening April 11th, and I believe the organization is AOS, yes?
Yes, Art to Scrap is like basically poetic violence. I love it. Poetic violence is going down at the Grand Wayne Center in Fort Wayne, Indiana. Get your tickets. I know they're a little on the upper high side, but hey, it's worth it. We have fighters coming from in and out the country to come meet at the downtown of Fort Wayne, Indiana. So it's going to be an amazing event. Get your tickets, get your popcorn, get your drinks, and watch me, my team, my Showtime brother Lorenzo. He's coming in back in town. We're all going to have a great time. We have people coming from UFC Fest. My boy Ryan McDonald, he's fighting. We have Ultimate Fighters fighting. My boy Ryan McDonald. We have people who fought in the UFC, people who are trying to get back in the UFC. We have a lot. My boy Sway Sotero, he's making his pro debut. It's going to be an amazing event. So definitely get your tickets. You'll see why the tickets are on the upper side. You're like, wow, I'm glad I came. I'm glad I got to experience something like this in Fort Wayne, Indiana. People say my town is very boring. I'm like, no, you just don't get to venture out to things like this because you're always want to talk bad about our city. But our city is a beautiful city. We have a lot in our city. Just go out, experience this. And like, wow, I'm glad I got to experience this wonderful events. It's been 10 of them, and I'm like, wow. And I've not got to go to not one, and you'll see why come April 11th. Oh, yeah.
Okay. We have a couple little orders of business before we kind of close up here.
Okay.
You went to the Royal Rumble.
I did.
You saw what happened at the end, though. And I was wondering if you had questions because your guy didn't win the Royal Rumble and may have been in an altercation with somebody who I'm very excited to see at the Royal Rumble. So I'm wondering, what is the prediction you have for Roman Reigns in his current predicament? It is him, it is Seth Rollins, and it is CM Punk headlining night number 1.
Okay, I'm gonna be honest with you. Someone posted about this about the event. I mean, this fight on their page, and I was like, I'm not mad about it, but I'm excited about. I'm excited for this fight because one, I just feel like Jey Uso should have been the headliner for night 1 since he did win the Royal Rumble, which is a very extremely hard predicament itself because one, at the number he came in at, and then he should have won. Well, he did win. I just feel like he earned the number 1 main event itself because the name is main event Jey Uso. I just feel like he should have won or earned the headliner of nights 1. But to answer your question, I just do feel like since he's the big dog, I feel like he's going to win. And I did hear that some rumblings, I'm not sure if it's true or not, that his wise men might turn on him. I pray that's not the case because apparently it's some favor that he owes CM Punk. And I pray he does not turn on him. Because, yeah, I'll be very heartbroken that happens.
Well, let me just point this out. He wasn't his wise man first. That was CM Punk's original wise man. So before I was a Paul Heyman guy, went to Roman Reigns, it was I'm a Paul Heyman guy, CM Punk.
I feel that. I do understand that. But I do feel like before he was CM Punk, he was Brock Lesnar's beast. So who knows? We never know what's going to happen in WWE because they always can throw a curveball at you. And I do hope and pray that Roman Reigns does win.
Okay. With that in mind, I had a little exercise for you. And I only do this every once in a while. Okay? So if wrestling is the retirement goal post all of your in-ring competition and in-cage competition, I think it's important we start working on the promos now. So, my challenge to you is I need you to cut a promo on CM Punk and Seth Rollins and tell them why your boy, the Tribal Chief, is going to come away with the win. Now, I'm giving you a couple seconds here to think about it, but I need you to hype up your boy, Roman Reigns, and tell your Tribal Chief why he's coming away with the win. So that is the task at hand. I'm going to put the camera on you, sir, but this is the emergence of you cutting the promos. This is you doing your best Paul Heyman. This is you talking to the people, sir. And you're going in 3, 2, go.
Oh my gosh. CM Punk, Seth Rollins, you guys hate each other. That's an easy way for Roman Reigns to capitalize because you two are going to take each other out personally for Roman Reigns. And then once one of you guys get taken out, boom, Mob Dog, the Tribal Chief, the head of the table, the OTC, the one, the big dog is going to spear you, not once, not twice, but then 3 times, and then pushing the guillotine and call it a night, and then come over to victory at WrestleMania. And Iron One's going to put their ones up and say, our Trouble Chief. And as Larry One was doing it last night, Roman Reigns, Roman Reigns. He's our guy. So I'm excited to see. I hope I did it correctly. Hopefully because I got goosebumps right there, actually. That's crazy. I really pray he wins and he gets the job done. Oh, yeah.
Good man. All right. Do you want me to? I think it's only fair. I got you on this. So what I'm going to do right now is I'm going to cut a little quick thing to tell people why they need to follow you. Okay. You ready for this?
Yes, yes.
Got you. Okay. Ladies and gentlemen, what are we talking about here? On April 11th, you might have plans. You might be trying to figure out your tax situation. It might be getting close to Easter, but you need to put those plans away. April 11th, my man Brutus over here is getting back into the cage. And if you had plans, you're canceling them. The tribal chief of AOS is making his return, and you need to be there. Not only was this man named one of the amateurs of the year, but he is telling you that he's representing America. You mean to tell me you're too busy to represent America with this man on April 11th? You're not. You've canceled your plans. My man's been watching Rocky IV to get into the mindset, to make sure that his heart is on fire. Yeah, he's going to be showing you guys the best of James Brown, living in America. He's telling you right now, there's no easy way out. You need to watch him April 11th. Be there, because we're taking on Russia. That's what we're doing that night. And he's coming away with the W, representing the red, white, and blue. And by the end of the night, if you aren't doing this, you do not love America. Be there, AOS, April 11th.
Let's go. I love that. I love that. Let's go.
So I'm just saying, in the future, should you need a Paul Heyman character to be your manager, you might know a guy. So there's a reason why some people in jiu-jitsu do say they're a Rafa Esparza guy. Nonetheless, sir, I'm going to put the camera on you right now, and I want to give you an opportunity to thank your team, give shout-outs to anybody you want to, and plug any of your sponsors that have been helping you to get ready for this fight on April 11th. Sir, camera goes to you.
All righty. Thank you. Thank you to all my team, my fans, my family, and the man above, actually, because I'm nothing without the man above, because praise God. Thank you for putting me in this position. My team, everyone at the Fight Lab, thank you, thank you, thank you. My coaches, to the biggest, to the smallest, teammates, I appreciate each and every one of you guys, because everyone has a role in this fight camp. My sponsors, I want to say thank you to Lace Barbershop to make sure I always look good when I'm in and out the cage. My chiropractor, Dr. Dunn, who's also my strength and conditioning coach, thank you for always making sure my body is right and I can always perform at my highest ability. My coach, my head coach, Mike Lee, thank you for always putting me under pressure, because you know I'm under pressure, diamonds, and I always shine under the lights. My head Muay Thai coach, thank you for always believing in me and I want to say giving to me, but helping me earn my brown belt in Muay Thai, especially in front of Dwayne Lugwit. That was amazing. I thank you appreciate you for doing that. My boy Ryan McDonald, thank you for always helping me find new ways to be a basketball player. And thank you for always thank you for helping me become a recover with the ice baths, the sauna, and the compression therapy. And always like having a great outlet for kids to go to for basketball or just in better human beings. My mechanic, dynamic specialist, Chad, thank you for having me have the fastest Toyota Camry on, no, I would say on earth, but I think you have this fastest and efficient gas mileage Toyota Camry on driving to this day. Exquisite Energy, thank you for always having me the best protein shakes and replacement meals shakes and best energy drinks, the healthiest energy drinks you can drink. Cause man, I be tired them 5 6 hour days on at the gym. I need some energy. So thank you for them. Um, Thank you for having me on the show. Thank you to the Fight Lab because that's the best gym in the world. That's my home team. Thank you for my management company, Showtime Management, because yeah, without y'all, we never got to meet the goats, John Jones or Anthony Pettis himself. So thank you to y'all, and thank you for having me on the show. Oh, and on my TikTok, you can follow me at my name Brutus. My Instagram is WK Brutus because I'm a very weird guy, the Weirdo King. And then my Instagram, and we said what Instagram. We said my Facebook is Jerrod Brutus Winston. I think. Oh, and my TikTok or X, if you will, is WK Brutus as well. Oh yeah.
Bruce, I appreciate the time. You know, you're good people. I always like talking with people with great energy, and you have an infectious sort of attitude that, like, you already got me in a much better mood for the day, and I think those are the people that you want to root for. So, obviously, you definitely got a lot going for you, and we'll be rooting for you come April 11th, sir. But I don't know that I'm gonna have your side come April 19th. I think we might be on opposing ends. I'm just happy my man CM Punk finally gets the headline, buy one get one night, coming back to haunt him a little bit. But I'll tell you this much: if you ever sat through some of the rough years of WWE, that man is long overdue to headline a WrestleMania. So I'm happy we're amending that
Yes.
wrong. So I wish your guy luck, but we will see how it all shakes out, and we'll see what this favor's all about. Because I don't know, man. Each week it looks like they're stressing out Paul Heyman a little bit more when he gets that look. Especially when he's
Yes, sir.
fangirling. I think somebody mentioned they're like, why does Paul Heyman always react like someone seeing Michael Jackson for the first time every time he sees Roman Reigns? And I go, it's not far off from what it is, but I think it's going to be fun. If you want to hang out for a second, I'll talk to you off air, but thank you again for being on the show. Again, April 11th, go check this man out. He will be returning to the Fort Wayne area for another night of fighting. I'll talk to you in a second, sir.
Yes, sir. Thank you.
All right, everybody, that's about to wrap it up here at the Grappling Hour. Before we do, a couple quick reminders. First and foremost, if you like this show and you watched all the way, like, comment, and subscribe. And if you have no idea what you want to comment on, I will give you a prompt right now. What do you think the favor that CM Punk is asking for? I personally think he's asking Paul Heyman to look after Larry when him and AJ are going to WrestleMania. I can't prove it. Might be that, don't know, but you guys can tell us in the comment section if you so please. Additionally, you can check us out at patreon.com/grappling hour, $5 a month, see our interviews 30 days before everybody else, and for a few extra dollars, support the show and get extra bonus content not available anywhere else. You can also check us out at rapisparza.com/merch, get you some merch, support the show, wear a Grappling Hour hoodie or a t-shirt, whichever floats your boat. It really does help us, and I really do appreciate those who sport those brands and those merch for the team. And if you like our show, you can also check us out on the Discord to continue the conversations we have here on the show. Ladies and gents, that's going to do it for us here at the Grappling Hour. Thank you so much for watching. We appreciate you. We will be back again very, very soon with some great guests, and be on the lookout for new episodes of The Bullpen every Friday. Thanks again for watching.